Welcome back, Guardian. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry for the break I've taken lately. It's been a minute since I made content, I know, and I apologize. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to beast and some Grandmaster tips for those who are willing. If you decide to watch it and consume it that way, you're in no way going to get as much skill set than those who are actually going out in the field and implementing and doing these methods and practicing these tips. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about Xenophage and then Wrath the Rasputin and Rage of the Warmind, and I'm going to show you a strategy when you enter the Brood Hold that works for any squad. So tell your two teammates, this is solo, but if you have two teammates, tell them to sit back. Now, the way that I'm killing my ads is not the correct way right here. I'm going to show you why in just a second. So I killed the mid-drag, the right sniper, and then you can see on my 5th kill that the cell was made in the intro, which is cool and everything, but there's a way better way to do this because I didn't kill 2 of the acolytes that are still hiding behind those rocks behind the servitor, and if I go try to take that servitor out, they're going to be throwing grenades at me the whole time. Here's another example of this. So I killed a mid-acolyte, then the left sniper, and now I have this dreg who's tethered that I should have killed first. That's why you want to kill him first, unless he's already killed by the ogres, which sometimes he is. But you can see then I made my cell by killing the 2 acolytes that are behind the servitor that I just talked about, and my cell is in some crappy location, and I'm wasting ammo taking shots. The right sniper's tethered now, so it's going to make me throw my grenade to freeze the servitor, and I'm having to waste time and abilities. This is just the first of many tips, but I want to show you the order of operation. So mid-drag, now right sniper. We're going to get the snipers out of the way. Sometimes the snipers will die, the left one especially from the ogre, but now we have this dude tethered, but the servitor went far enough away. But still, I didn't want to make my cell right there because, again, those 2 acolytes behind the servitor, even though they don't see me right now, when I start downing that servitor even more towards the end, or if I kill him, they're going to be tossing grenades at me if they know that I'm back here, which is going to kill me instantly because Grandmaster ads hit extremely hard. I know this seems like it's going by all fast, and these tips are just kind of like, too much to handle right now. It might be for some of you, but hopefully at the end of this video, it'll all start connecting and making sense. You can see right there, I got killed by the 2 acolytes. Now let me show you the proper way to do it. Mid-drag. Now we got the right sniper out of the way, the left sniper, unless he dies by the ogre. I want to try to kill him though because I need him to contribute my next cell production or my first cell production. So he's dead. And then if the dreg does get tethered, you can hit that explodey canister right by him and it'll blow him off the map. But then you want to try to make a cell across the map so when you blow it up, everybody over there gets killed instantly, as you can see on my screen right now. This is the proper way you want to do it. You want to try to time your cell production on the 5 or 6 kills you get to be across the map and try to make it in the center so your cell is in the center to reach out to more people, and I am using global reach. There's going to be way more beast strategies as this video plays out, but I wanted to put you in the mindset of just the order of operation and the movement you have to do when it comes to your build and how you want things to play out in your favor. I'm going to be beating a dead horse because I'm going to talk about friction fire again. If you're new to the game and you don't own these 2 specific roles, you're effing up. Even if you don't understand it, get them and you will later if you're like a new player or something. But sympathetic arsenal, fill prep, and drop mag, and then whatever your preferred barrel is. I like more range, but PS5 or PC I think probably wants more range. Wellspring, auto-loading holster, drop mag. I still think I like fill prep over the auto-loading holster, but I do have benefit in auto-loading as well. But own these 2 roles, and if you haven't figured out how to fill prep on the move, we're going to go over that again, even though I've been talking about that since year 1 with Blue Shift rocket launcher. That was when I first figured it out. But here it is against this Grandmaster Knight. So whenever I do these solos, I don't really consider myself a soloist anymore. I'm more or less a practice soloist, if that makes sense. I usually play on LFG teams, so whenever I'm doing like solos in Master or Grandmaster, I usually will just do it for the sake of practicing each encounter over and over. A lot of the time what I'll do is I'll just do a Master and drop my light level to where I'm taking Grandmaster damage. That way when I die, I don't have to go back to orbit. It's a good way to practice because when you have Grandmaster actually launched and you die, you just got to keep restarting it and fight your way back to the location you wanted to practice that. But fill prep on the move is crouch, reload, and then jump all in one motion. You don't need a special scuff controller or any kind of defender packs or whatever they are. I've never even used any kind of competitive controller in my life. I've always used stock PlayStation controllers, so you don't need anything special. You can also do a thing where you slide into ammo if you're out of ammo, and it'll automatically reload it for you when you slide and jump. But this gives you great movement around the map. Here's an example of sliding into ammo and then jumping. This is probably the most basic form of fill prep on the move, but that's kind of like, a rare instance when you're, completely out of ammo, or if you're using a rocket launcher and you just picked up a brick. But 100% learn this. I swear to you, this will make you such a more faster and more competitive and just more efficient player on your team when you're carving around the map and fighting ads, they can shoot extremely fast and are really smart because Grandmaster ads just have more of a brain skill than legendary and lower type ads. So learn field prep on the move and you won't even care about auto-loading holster rockets anymore. Just get over the learning curve and don't make excuses. I swear to you, you won't care about auto-loading rockets anymore. Here's an example against a high tier knight. I'm going to be using field prep drop mag and just the drop mag itself. So you can see that I have to reload after he cancels out my finisher. So then I have to do that reload. I have 2 concussive dampeners on, but luckily the drop mag itself was still fast enough. But again, drop mag with field prep is extremely fast. Here's the cell build, which is one of my go-tos for ad clearing in Grandmaster or Master type situations. The reason Xeno and Wrath and Rage go so well together is because when you make a cell, the splash damage from Xenophage is enough to pop a cell, and you can just keep running and gunning until you get to a champion, and then you stop, crouch, keep dumping out rounds with field prep drop mag, as you see right here, and I'll go to a different situation where I keep carving to my location and then making the cell on the way. Just do a hip fire pop and then move on. Throw your freezing grenades, which goes extremely well with this build. The entirety of the build that I've been leaning towards lately when it comes to just playing the ad clear role or champion role on top of it, kind of a combo role of ad clear and champs, is Wrath, Rage, Global, Protective Light, and then either empowering finisher or taking charge or shield break charge. I'm using shield break charge on Scarlet Keep, but on some other Nightfalls I might use something like taking charge or empowered finisher with Spoils of War. That way when I do the finisher I get charged with light, and if I'm in any kind of trouble I have protective light kicking in right after that finisher. 90% of the teams I'm with on LFG make the mistake of going with reserves over resist mods, and you can see right here they end up dying, and it's not worth picking ammo over dying. You can take way more shots when you stack those resist mods. Here's a few builds you can also download in my Discord. Go to the About section, scroll down, click on Discord, Become Beast. It might take you up to 12 hours to be approved unless I manually approve you. Shoot me a message and I'll go ahead and approve you automatically, but you can download all these in a more high quality version. And sorry about the blotches of color you're seeing. Ever since I swapped to PS5, I guess the laptop just can't handle the 4K awesomeness, but you can download these high quality in my Discord. But for sure, don't go with reserves in your chess piece in Master or Grandmaster. Use those resists. They're way more valuable, especially when you're using Spoils of War, Scavengers, and Finders. I still see a lot of players also using Surge Eater and Unstoppable Nightfalls. The key word here is Stagger and Disrupt. Disrupt is for overloads, Stagger is for Unstoppables. If you're on a Warlock, here's the order you need to do things in. It's always stagger, do your DPS, freeze them, and then repeat the process. If you do it out of order, you're going to break the freeze off of them and they're going to start charging at you. But if you do it in the right order, you'll see that they stay steady the entire time until their death. And again, when you're in the brood hold, what you want to do is when they're almost dead in a finisher state, hide behind this structure that you see me behind, let them see you, and then follow their way around. And then when they get close, you can either freeze them again and then do a finisher, or just run up really quick and do a finisher. Either way works. But you can get that with Spoils of War if you're doing a solo run or a team run. And make sure that if you are doing a team run, get those finishers on champs. I see so many people not doing the finishers and just not getting the ammo. And when you don't have heavy ammo, you're killing your time on your runs. And once you have the Unstoppables out of the way, you should be good for another cell production on one of the first Acolytes you kill. And then at that point, just pop it and everybody's dead. I'm going to show you another benefit of having your anti-barrier SMG with the fill prep and drop mag, and sympathetic as well. You can see I almost reloaded Xenophage, but then I was like, hey man, I got sympathetic. And the cool thing about anti-barrier weapons, on SMGs especially, is it staggers them backwards every bullet you hit them with. So you can see them charging at me, and the reload is so quick. Drop mag is still quick, but if I wouldn't have had fill prep and drop mag together, one of them would have made their way to me and hit me, because over time the reload would have been slower every time I did the reload. They would have inched their way towards me to eventually, melee me or do whatever. Here's another sympathetic arsenal situation. This is an easy mode legendary though, so nothing too, dramatic. But you can see that I'm about to reload Xeno, but then I change my mind, and then I end up killing that knight. And right before I get killed, because of sympathetic, I got the Xeno ammo back, pop the knight, and then pop the cell, and then everybody's dead. I never know who's a new viewer to my channel, and if you've never seen me fill prep with rockets, I thought I'd go ahead and cover it, because it's going to be a meta next season with that 30% buff legendary rockets are getting, and with Sleepless coming back. Just do the same method of crouch, reload, and jump, or just crouch and throw the thing out and stay crouched if you're doing just DPS on one target. But crouch, reload, and jump if you're moving around and slaying ads. You see me fall backwards right here. I throw it out, crouch, reload, jump again back towards the ads. It allows dodging around ads, which means you're taking less shots, and a lot more maneuverability and beast slaying because of how many rockets you're getting out per second. The ideal roll, or the god rolls for any large blast rocket, is going to be quick launch, alloy casing, and then fill prep, and then whatever your preferred perk is, whether it be clown cartridge or shield disorient, or just whatever's going to be on the new sleepless, or if you're getting tomorrow's answer from trials. Farm those rockets out. Never use a small blast to mid blast. In my opinion, it's just not worth it. You'll take out way more adds per rocket using a large blast. If you haven't seen one of my last videos where I compared Bad Omens to Tomorrow's Answer and show you the difference of how they play, you don't ever want to use a Bad Omens type rocket. Trust me, even with the buff coming, just get you a really good large blast rocket. Quick launch gives you the highest handling. Now let's talk about movement and skill with your recovery. And there's a perfect ad you can practice this on that will heighten your level of playability to another level by just spending a little bit of time, even if it's just like 40 minutes or 30 minutes a day. Launch this event and then drop your light to where you're Grandmaster level. And don't use the matching shield when you fight this ad. Use something like I am, where you're using 2 short-range weapons, and just learn how to carve your way around these type of ads. He moves extremely quick. He hits really hard as well, especially when you drop your light to Grandmaster level. Don't be at the light level, because then you're not getting the full benefit of just learning how to move your Guardian and understanding just how important recovery is as a stat itself. I'll never go below a 7 recovery. I try to always maintain an 8 or higher if I can, but never below a 7. It's always 7 and up. And you can see in this example right here, every time he hits me, I have to back out, and I don't want him to recover his shield because it takes a lot of fucking ammo to get that shield break off of him. And you can see I already ran out of SMG ammo, so it's all relying on this sidearm that I'm using, which is still a good reloading sidearm, and it's also one of the benefits of having faster reloading weapons. Even though you don't have full prep or drop mag, having just a good intrinsic stat for reload is really important, and I never go with the really slow reloading weapons unless it comes with that full prep option. But you can see he's almost dead, and he's taking a crap load of shots, and I have to be careful because every time he busts my shield, he gets more accurate, and that's what Grandmaster or higher tier ads do, is the lower your health gets, the more accurate and more aggro they become, and the more they start flashing around because they don't want to die just like you don't want to die. But that's how you take him out. Practice against that ad. I swear you will increase your movement skill over time and learn how to play against these higher tier ads and being more beast and aggressive. I always find it so just typical and hilarious when PvP players try to shit on PvE players and being like, well, once you know the strategy, it's just, you do it all over and over again. It's really easy to do. And I'm going to give you an example of why that's bullshit. So you're probably really familiar with this, Nightfall or this Grandmaster. So what I did was I dropped myself to Grandmaster level because I don't want to go orbit when I'm practicing. So I just dropped my light, and I'm also playing with Togetherness on. And you're probably really familiar with this area. And this is probably where you yourself stands when you get to this area and playing Grandmaster or sometimes even Master. And I want to ask the question is, are you beating an area or are you beasting an area? And striving for beastness is what this channel is all about, is pushing yourself to the limit and learning a different set of skills that makes you just a better version of yourself as a player. I'm not at all trying to start a war or talk shit, but when Grandmaster first launched, I saw some of the best PvP players in game not know how to approach any encounter in Grandmaster. They stood in doorways, hid behind cover, got wiped over and over. And then finally, hours and a half later, whenever the update finally launched, me and this other guy that I took under my wing to show how to play and beast out in Destiny carved through it as if it was a regular strike mode, and we were actually the first 2-man on console to beat a Grandmaster. And this is what I want to get at. Like I said, it's not to talk shit or flex or anything. Anybody can do this. You just got to take your time out and learn how to do it. I have no health recovery on, and doing activities like this is what made me a better builder. I have reactive pulse on, which is going to give me that overshield every time I do a finisher, and every time I touch an orb with taking charge, any ads that are near me, all these, stabbing ads or, melee ads, are going to get blown backwards, such as a situation like this. I would have never taken this route, but I knew that orb was there, and I knew when I touched it, those ads are going to proc reactive pulse. So what I'm trying to teach you here is take your time out as a solo player, not to solo or beat it or be a soloist, but to practice encounters. Drop your light level to where it is Grandmaster and just keep running them over and over. And about 40 minutes later, maybe even less than that, or maybe take longer for some players, you'll start unlocking a new way of thinking in these encounters that's going to make you a faster speed killer and better player on your team. And honestly, doing this type of stuff is what made me a fast killer and why I can outslay anybody using a blinding grenade launcher and a primary weapon. It's because my movement and the strategies that I take and the way that I move around and shoot ads without, having to hide behind cover or stay stationary for too long. This is what it all teaches you. And even though probably 10% of the people watching this video are going to be the ones that actually do this, those 10% are going to exponentially increase their skill level. I've seen it happen so many times with people that I play with that I just tell, go out and do this kind of stuff, put this type build on, use these fill prep weapons, you know, use this type of recovery, use whatever mobility, whatever, you know, discipline, balance your tiers out, turn your HUD off even to even practice. Turning your HUD off will start teaching you when you always know your grenade's ready. You just have a feel for it over time. But anyways, this is what I want the channel to progress to, is just a bunch of beast-ass players, but it's a holdback if you don't go out into the field and start doing this type of stuff. You might think that watching it is the same as doing it yourself because you're watching me do this, but you're still not going to be making the same type of movements. And you're also not going to be thinking and reacting the same way when things don't go your way or when, you know, hiccups happen during combat. And that's what all this is going to teach you over time. Here's the next encounter. Once you successfully get to this part, your super should be charged by this point, and most people, again, will stay right back here and do it the whole time, and if they try to move up, this is probably what's going to happen the first time they do. But again, go in and practice it for about 30 to 40 minutes, and spend your time. I mean, if you love Destiny and want to get good at the game, you should be thrilled to want to learn this type of stuff. But this is where you're going to use your first super, and this is what I learned after spending my time in here. I don't want to go through every strategy that I know in the game, because then it would spoil it for you and your own personal encounters and the insight that you're going to learn personally through your own experience. After I use my super, I wait and see what the encounter is going to be next. The servitor doesn't always come up here. Sometimes he stays below, sometimes he doesn't. So you always have to know how to react to these different encounters that are going to be happening, same as you do if you're a PvP player. And I'm not saying PvE is harder than PvP or trying to even start that kind of balance war or whatever. And I'm not trying to say that it's not okay if you don't beast out in Grandmasters or Masters, but as part of my channel, I want to teach players how to excel and become greater at the game that we all love, and this is one thing that I love to do, is figure out how you can be better at playing this game. So why not learn how to be a better player so that when you join a random LFG team, you're the one at the head of the pack the entire time. One of the hardest things about making content like this is it seems like a total flex the entire time. It's hard to say, you know, you're better or good at a video game without somebody, you know, being like, PvE players suck, or, you know, PvP rules, you can't compare PvE to PvP, or, you know, this all that crap that comes along with it. So it's hard to kind of make videos like this because you never know how people are going to react. But if anybody launches and tries to go beast mode and play aggro and aggressive their first time, they're going to get their ass smashed over and over and over again. But 30 to 40 minutes later, it might take longer for some people, as I was saying earlier. They're going to start unlocking a new way of thinking, how they approach these encounters, and they're going to be able to start playing that aggressive, and then they'll start understanding that PvE can have a hard side to it. Here's how you take out an anti-barrier using Ahamkara. You wait for the anti-barrier to flex, do your first melee, do your shots again, wait for him to flinch again, do your second melee to freeze him, and then take him out with Xenophage. Now when you get to the very end of the combat before the Omnigul battle, or whatever the new Omnigul is called, what you want to do is just run past every ad, hop to the very top. A lot of people do this in Destiny 1, that's what I actually used to do, and I use the same strategy that I used to there. But that's how you do it, just basically run to the top, and then carve your way back down. After you take out the Unstoppable, then you take out the anti-barrier, and then go back to the boss battle. Here's one more tip against overload champions. If you're using sun bracers, it's an option. This is really easy to do. What you want to do is you want to hide behind cover to where the overload doesn't see you anymore, and it causes them to stay in the overload grenade until it disrupts them for a second time. Then you walk forward, start doing DPS, throw another grenade to stagger them again, and then go behind cover, hide yourself, and keep repeating that over and over, and they'll never move out of that location. So if you and your squad are trying to, you know, run Well of Radiance on one of your people with the overload, if you're doing like Exodus Crash, this works really well. And when you're doing the charge plate phase on Exodus Crash, what you want to do is one person steps on the charge plate until ads come out. The second an ad comes out, don't touch the plate again, then clear all the ads, and then get back on the plate. And then keep repeating that until the whole encounter ends. What you accomplish by doing that is it doesn't summon a ton of ads on you all at once, and it doesn't summon also a ton of overload champions and the anti-barriers at once. You can take out the anti-barrier, and then the overloads come out, so you don't have a lot to deal with. I'll label all the percentages that you want to hop off of it right here, but do that and I promise you it makes this whole encounter a ton easier. If the overload doesn't stay still so you can stick it with a grenade, whoever your anti-barrier person is, all you have to do is shoot a couple bullets against them and it staggers them backwards, and then follow that with your first overload grenade, and then hide yourself where they can't see you. They'll stun themselves twice with sun bracers, and just keep doing that over and over again until they finally die. But Guardian, that's it for today. Hopefully you found this enjoyable and entertaining and informative. If you want to keep this channel alive and pulsing and keep content coming, You can also shop at teespring.com/inspace and all the other links that I have in my description. If you like merch, I have a lot of merch that I designed myself, that I put a lot of heart and my soul into, Guardian. If you want to rep the channel, that's a good way to do it. You can also do donations at paypal.me/Rustopholis if I speak your language, Guardian. But anyways, again, it's been my pleasure, and I hope to see you all in the next video next time.
In space.
And you will find no mercy in me!